Get in the action on the Action Addicts podcast. No greater faction than the action movie scene. Get in the action on the Action Addicts podcast. Your satisfaction, action on the silver screen. Get in the action on the Action Addicts podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. My name is Scott Wiley, and you're listening and watching to the Action Addicts podcast. Yes, we're back. A bit quicker than last time, hopefully a sign of things to come. On today's episode of the show, we will be sitting down with actress, producer, and stunt woman-ish Tatiana Neva. She's had quite a few different roles within the industry. She started off as a model. She's also done a fair amount of work behind the camera, though not necessarily credited for all of that work, but she certainly knows her way around cameras and lighting and what looks good. And that is very helpful when you want to transition into being in front of the camera and actually start working as an actress. For those who may be unfamiliar with her, Tatiana started appearing in various YouTube videos and then transitioned into making the types of movies that she's doing now. She's been in several Alexander Nevsky films, and her newest movie is called Prey of Wrath, which is on a streaming service called Xumo. Now, over in the UK, this service doesn't exist. However, thankfully, it's a relatively easy one to access if you know what you're doing on the internet. And I was able to watch this through their app. It was very nice, no problems. So I'm also reliably informed that Prey of Wrath has been in their number one spot for several weeks, and it has stayed in the top 10 even now as I'm recording this. So clearly people like it. I will likely be putting up a review of this film as well, since Tatiana was nice enough to send me over some images to use. So as soon as I catch up on my review backlog, that will be happening as well. Prey of Wrath also stars Cynthia Rothrock. That was kind of the big marketing push, that this is Tatiana and Cynthia. And she plays a secret agent who has to try and stop the bad guys in a typical story that is great for this kind of movie. You know, action movies really, in my opinion, are tailor-made for these types of stories where there's big stakes, there's international travel, there's gunfights, hand-to-hand fights, and I was really interested to sit down and talk to Tatiana about her career, her life, and this movie in particular. So we did exactly that, and we stayed true to form and went for a lot longer than we both planned. Now, don't panic, this isn't a Johnny Young Bosch 4.5 hour long episode. Most of our talking was actually done off camera, but this is still going to probably clock in at about a couple hours. So make sure you've got a nice hot beverage, maybe a snack. Sit back, relax, and here is Tatiana and myself just having a good old chat about Prey of Wrath and a few other things that might come up. See you for the outro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here and we are now live with Tatiana Neva. How are you doing today, Tatiana?
I am doing great today, Scott. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm super excited to chat with you today.
No, I appreciate it. I saw in the nicest possible way you were doing the rounds, and you've actually been on the list of people that I wanted to reach out to anyway, and the fact that Prey of Wrath, quote unquote, finally came out was a great excuse to finally say hello, because you won't be aware of this, but I've known of this film's existence and how long it's been waiting to come out for a long time, because I've been friends, yes, because I've been friends with a guy called Darren Holmquist on Facebook for well over a decade.
Yeah, this is actually the guy that I trained with the most for this film, for this project. And I did one of my favorite fights in the movie with him. So
yes, anyone who's also friends with him on Facebook is very aware of that fact.
well, it's a great fight. You know, we developed it together and we drilled it to the point of like probably could do it in our sleep back in the day. And yeah, like he's very talented. He's very skilled and very talented. We did really good together as a team.
Yeah, and I'm also gonna say as well, like the amount of times you killed him when he was wearing a ski mask was also great to see. Because yes,
Oh,
once you know an actor's eyes, it's very easy to tell when it's them and when it's the double. And the amount of times that you killed him definitely was making me chuckle.
when it's your friends, yeah, absolutely, it's recognizable. But you know what? To the credit of all of our stunt guys, like we had the main stunt team, and then we had the extended stunt team. And most of the times, like yes, you can see the same people because those were the people that were involved in the rehearsals.
Yeah,
Um, and when you see like other people, this is when it was improvised, on the spot. But there was a few guys who were the most involved in preparation, which is why they get killed the most in this movie.
that wasn't a complaint. It was just funny that I knew he played a character, and then in the opening sequence in the snow, you started fighting with a guy, and it just so happened to zoom in on his face, and I was like, that's
That's
Darren.
Darren.
And then you killed him, and
Yeah,
and then the next scene, it's Darren playing the character without a mask, and I was just like, that's funny if you know, makes no difference if you don't.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it makes a huge difference though when you work with the people that you trained with and rehearsed with. I've done most of the projects that I worked on before Pre-Wrath pretty much winging it on the spot, which is possible. It's not something that is impossible to do. Sometimes like you just develop choreography right there on the day and you just get it done. But I find it that it just looks so much better when you do it in advance, when you first of all you save so much time on set, precious time because you're either racing against the sun because the sun is constantly moving, so you have to move with it if you're shooting outdoors, or if you're shooting indoors, usually like you have to place for a specific amount of hours and then you have to clear out after a certain amount of time. So there's always like a time crunch, and I personally prefer not to spend any time on like wondering what are we going to do here today. Like I want to show up knowing what we're going to do, and if we have to add some improvisation, we can. But I want to have a plan. I want to have something that we can do like this, and that's what we focused on. So we developed pretty much all of the, or most of the choreography in advance. And by the time that we were on set, we knew it by heart. Most of the stuff again was filmed from the first or second take. We usually do one for safety. The only thing that came as a surprise to all of us is that when we were filming the winter fight scene, we did not account for the fact that we're going to be wearing all of those layers of wardrobe. It was really hard to move in that stuff, not just fighting. I'm talking about walking, just existing in it was really hard because we were either outside in the cold and had to like somehow also work with all these layers of clothes. All of it was restricting, so we were less flexible. Like it was heavy. It was like all kinds of uncomfortable.
Yep.
But you still have to do all of the stuff, like that you have to do, right? And it has to look as good as the rehearsal, which is pretty much impossible because when you rehearse barefoot, really comfortable clothes, on a spring floor at the specialty gym, and you're kind of in a much better situation there. Um, More favorable conditions. And on the day we were like, we should have done at least one rehearsal in full gear just to know how complicated it's going to be. Um, a lot of the moves did not look the same when we were doing them, like on set on the day. And I was like, I'm a perfectionist, so it was literally hurting my heart. It was hurting my very soul. I was like, let's do another take, let's do another take. And I literally ended up tearing my ligament on one of the moves because I kept like fighting gravity with those boots, that I didn't have in the rehearsal. And because we drilled it so much, we were able to work around my injury and still finish the shoot with the help of our stunt team, of course. Like cast, crew, stunt team, where everybody was so supportive on this. Like we pulled through it. Like honestly, I would not be able to finish filming if I didn't have such an amazing team with me. Like I would just not last that long because it was an excruciating pain. I cannot describe it. Like, and I had like a lot of painkillers in me at this point, and still I could feel like everything was hurting so like it was just a lot. But they were like so supportive.
So basically, what you're saying is those scenes where you have to look like you want to kill someone. There was very little acting involved. You were just channeling how you felt on the inside.
No, I wanted to kill myself. I was in so much pain. I was like, "Do you have like a real gun on this set? Got somebody shoot me!" Like,
How early did you did you tear the ligament? Was it like early on in the shoot?
thank God, no. We only had like 1 quarter left. Like we had 2 days in a row of filming on this location, and the first day was everything was fine. Second day, we filmed half the day, everything was okay, and then like right in the middle of the second day, I tore the ligament, and I had to go for like several more hours, like because there was a lot of like a big chunk of choreography that we all, like worked so hard on, and there was some really cool moves there, and I didn't want to sacrifice them. Like I knew if we're not gonna finish right now, we're not coming back here because the place was getting sold off to a new owner, and our, contract was with the old owner. So whatever we shot there in those 2 days is whatever we have for the movie. Like there was no way that we could do pickups, reshoots, nothing like that. And so that's why normally I would advise toward taking your health seriously and going to the ER, which they offered to me to do. But I was like, I don't know. I really wanted to finish it. I mm, I was like, no, I can't. I can't walk away from because I knew if we're not gonna do it, it's not gonna make it into the movie, and this whole sequence is going to lose like a bunch of really cool stuff, and I just did not want to sacrifice it.
But also, I think that highlights something, especially with action movies, that not a lot of people give it the full credit. They understand it, but they don't actually really understand that if you did go to the ER, and if you had to, you had to. There's nothing anyone could do about that. But not only are you losing the material that you really want to get in the film, everybody else's work that went into what you want to
Yeah,
get into the film is just gone. And you can't come back later. Even if you had the locations, it might not be possible to come back later for a bunch of other different reasons. And it's actually quite normal, for want of a better word. People that make action movies will get injured while they're making them, and they'll just go, I'll deal with it later. And it
yeah,
shouldn't be that way. And it's not something that you should be like, yeah, I make action movies. Look at me, how tough I am. But at the same time, it is kind of nuts when you think about if you make these sorts of movies, you are going to get injured at some point, and it's kind
yeah.
of on you to find a way to deal with it if you want to keep going. And it's kind of unlucky that yours was just like, yes, I'm here. Ow, that hurt. But like you say, you did find a way to keep going despite the incredible pain.
Yeah. I don't think anybody does it like to look tough. I think everybody who will choose the path of shooting action, filming action, quite quickly realizes that it's not about if the injury happens, it's about when the injury happens. And we do our
Yeah.
best to avoid it. Of course, we try to be careful with ourselves, with each other. But in the end of the day, like you can slip on a banana peel, you know? Like, I mean, I'm just saying that the injury can happen even if you're being extra careful and you take all of the precautions. If you're filming action at some point, it's almost bound to happen, you know? Like some kind of a, like I had different kinds of sprains happen. Like, thank God never broke anything. Thank God. But I've been stabbed on set. You know, like I tore my nail off, you know, like it's all kinds of different stuff happened. Like was hit in the face, you know, like um there was like a bunch of stuff that happened. And I feel like people who work in this particular industry and stick around after those things start to happen, and the realization sets in that, oh, this is part of the deal, you know, like you have to
Yeah.
deal with the pain, you know. The people who are not willing to deal with it, they kind of just you know, like migrate to other genres. Like this action is not the only genre where you can express yourself. And I'm convinced that the people who choose to stick around are those who are enthusiasts of the genre to the point where they just can't do anything else. Like they just really, really want to do that, and they don't care if it hurts, you know. And I'm not the only one who got injured on this set. Like there were like a couple of other people who went through the same kind of thing and had to recover, and we had to wait. Like it delayed the filming process like a few times. We had to wait for everybody to recover. Yeah, but that's just part of the like it's like it comes with the territory, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful to, you know, like again, to our team. I'm not gonna stop saying that. I'm gonna say it to the point of annoying. I'm
No,
so
not on this
grateful to
show.
our
Not on
team.
this show, you won't. It's funny you say that because I can't remember which actor it was, but I remember there was an actor who is mostly known for doing like martial arts action movies, and he went and he had like a small role in a drama, and he was like, I've done like 15 years worth of action movies, never really had a serious injury. I do 10 minutes in a drama, walk up a flight of stairs, catch my toes in between the stairs and hyperextend my knee and
Oh
crumple
my
onto the
God.
floor, and that was me done. And it's like, but I did 15 years of action movies with no problems. So, like you say,
Oh my.
you know, it can happen at any time.
I know. Yeah, no, it's really weird how sometimes you do really like complicated combinations, you know, of moves, learn like new tricks and go all out and like do your absolute best with that intense advanced stuff. And then you will be just walking, and your foot goes like blink, and that's it. It literally happened to me. Like there was one year when I kept respraining the same exact ankle. Like I think I sprained it like 5 times in one year because it probably never like properly healed. So like every time that it would be getting a little bit better, I would go on a hike or something and sprain it again. And I was like, come on already.
Yeah, my feet do that as well because I've got hypermobility in a lot of my joints, and my left ankle. I managed to give myself tendonitis after I landed on the top of a flight of stairs, and my foot did that. And then I registered I did that when I'd made it to the bottom of the flight of stairs. So yeah, I know what you mean because yeah, your foot they betray you. I think is the nice way of putting it.
Sometimes, yeah.
However, before we get too off topic, we also previously have, as you know, your friend Sean Piccinino was on the show a
Oh,
couple times, and
one of the best people in this industry ever.
yes, we spoke about some of the previous projects that you'd worked on, and the one that I think he was most excited to sort of highlight and talk about was Heroes with Issues.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and that was good fun. And I was just curious, like, Obviously, I think a lot of people probably know you from the Superpower Beatdown movies that you'd done prior to that. I'm pretty sure that's where I first discovered you. I want to say it was as Lara Croft, but it might not have been. But there was a few different roles that I
Probably either
remember.
Domino or Wonder Woman or Black Widow.
Might have been Black Widow. I remember you as Domino because you fought Amy Johnston as Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, long story. But it's more the fact of he was saying like heroes with issues very much allowed some of you guys to demonstrate that there's more to you than just we look good in these costumes and we know how to fight. And I think Heroes with Issues did a lot of good in that regard for like showing off the comedy and the acting ability. And if I remember correctly, you were a lecturer in that, right?
I did a bunch of roles in that one actually. That was my first time playing Harley Quinn, and I think it's still the most popular episode of the series. I did Wonder Woman, I did Kitana, I did Lara Croft, I did what else did I do? Black Widow. I've done a bunch of stuff. It was actually, it became really successful. You know, it's funny thing is like when I came up with this idea, I first took it to Beth and the Sun and I pitched it to them and they turned it down. And I was like, okay, no problem. And so I took it and I went to Sean and I was like, Sean, how do you like this? And Sean is so positive, and he was honestly the absolute right choice to take it to because this guy is so multi-talented. He can write, he can act, he can produce, he can direct, he can work the camera, he can do post-production, he can do sound, he can do visual effects. Like there is so much, so many talents that he has. There's so many things that he can do that we literally were able to shoot a lot of stuff like just a skeleton crew. Like there was like not a lot of people involved with this project in the beginning when we were just starting off. And then it became successful and we started getting more and more people, you know, like coming on board. And it was a fun time. Like I really had like such an amazing time working on that. It was super fun.
Yeah, it is strange how everybody seems to know everyone because I also spoke to Peter Shinkoda and Casper Van Dien, unaware at the
Mhm.
time, obviously, of how close they both are with Sean as well. And yeah, everybody just has good things to say about him. But going from something like that, how did you get involved with Prey of Wrath then?
Um, well, it started with Dr. Chioka saw my work somewhere online. And he already had the idea for Prayer of Wrath. The script wasn't even written yet. Um, and he realized that, oh, this is the actors that I want for this project. So they reached out to me and told me, hey, you know, we would like to open a conversation with you about you coming on board as the lead of this action film. And they described what they were going to do. And I was like, wow, this is like, sounds like a dream come true. But I was not sure if it's one of those situations, you know how like in Hollywood, like everybody says, you know, talks the big game, you know, like we're going to make a movie and you're going to be the star. And it's like literally, I heard it so many times, and most of those ideas never become a script and then a project. And, you know, because a lot of the project don't see the light of day. I don't think a lot of people who watch the movies realize what a mountain to climb it is to film a movie. It is really, really hard. There's so many challenges um, of all kinds. You know, like it's a lot of work, it's a lot of stress. It takes a lot, you know, and it takes a village. It takes a really good team to come together and make it happen and keep pushing. And you can't relax, you can't let go, you know. And originally, they reached out to me and they told me that they wanted me to be an actress who would, you know, come on board as a lead and play the role of Ludmila. And then as we start worked on pre-production, and I was reading the script, start getting ideas how to, maybe explore the character a little more, like open her up, like maybe add some stuff to her arc, to her backstory and stuff like that. And I started pitching those ideas to Doug Tochioka, who wrote the script. And he was gracious enough to offer to me to write them out as scenes. He said, "Do you think you can write them out as scenes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can." And he goes like, "Okay, send them over." So I wrote that stuff and I sent it over, and this is how I found myself joining the production as the co-writer. And then later on, more and more things accumulated because I cared about this project so much that I was willing to not just go an extra mile, I was willing to go a lot of extra miles to help make it happen. And I have invested a lot of time and extra work that a lot of people don't even realize that I have, like in many different departments. It's not coincidental that I got those credits in the end, like I earned every single one of them. And that's how it kind of like started. But it all started with just coming on board as an actress. And I just have to say big thank you, like huge appreciation to Doug for allowing me to express myself in all those other creative outlets because I have enjoyed it so, so much. It definitely added like a lot of extra work, but I don't mind extra work. Like I don't mind working extra hard for something that I love, something that I believe in.
Which is good, because I think you're definitely in the right industry in that case.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of extra work here.
One of the things that did surprise me, speaking of those extra roles that you took on, like, it isn't entirely unheard of for an actor to help with the script or to someone that knows martial arts to help with choreography, which you also do. But the bit that did surprise me was when I saw that your name popped up with edited by. Um, so A, what's your editing experience? But B, why/how did you get involved with that?
That's all due to the fact that a lot of the movie happens to be in Russian, and in order to edit those parts, you have to be the native speaker. Um, it kind of happened with me volunteering to help edit like sit through the editing process. Like, uh, not to say that I'm an editor. I'm not looking to, I'm not looking to book editing jobs. If anybody's listening, oh well, let's have her edit our movie too. I'm like, no, like that was one of those special kind of situations where I went an extra mile and I was offered the credit and I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll take it, like why not? This is fun. But I don't actually work as a film editor. This is not my like profession. Although I do have editing experience because I used to be a photographer. Like I've done a lot of different things in my career, photography being one of them. And I actually worked as an editor for A-list photographers and a lot of people don't realize, but I was editing photos of A-list celebrities for um, various magazines for a while. And then that's how I was launched into photography. So I understand equipment, I understand lighting, I understand angles, I understand the editing process from aesthetic standpoint, which kind of brought me to the point where some of the projects that I worked on in the past, I helped with editing before. I just didn't get the credit for it. Like this was my
I see.
third or fourth time, I think, sitting through the project, like sitting through with an editor and helping with the editing process. This is not something that I have the ambition of pursuing though. So I was even debating like whether or not I should accept that credit. there was some credits on this production that I did not accept because I did not want to take away from other people, like and what they did. And it would not do anything for me. So I kind of said, I turned them down. I said like it's okay, I don't need them. But I never got any credit for like sitting through the editing on the movie, so I thought it would be just a fun memory to have. So I agreed to accept it. But uh, the whole involvement in that part stems from the fact that I am familiar with editing process and I understand the aesthetic side of it. And meanwhile, I speak Russian fluently, obviously, and I was able to pinpoint like, okay, this needs to be cut here and go to this shot, like this is where the word is doubled, you know what I mean? Like you just know, like where things need to be cut in order for them to create like a nice flow.
Yeah,
So that's basically where it kind of stemmed from.
I can't speak Russian, so I can't offer any comment on that. But I've always had the thought in my mind that it's part of the reason why if I'm gonna watch a Hong Kong action movie, the sub, depending on the performer, is almost a requirement for me if the film has comedy. Because when the
Mhm.
dub tries to put the same comedy back in, the timing doesn't work in the translation based on what the performer is saying. And there's quite a lot of examples in like the Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung movies where they'll get like a Yun Bu who can deliver this insane dialogue that is hilarious if you understand the language and the
If you
humor that they're
understand.
going for. But even if you don't, you can still pick up on when the timing is. But if you listen to it in another language, it's incredibly difficult to translate a piece of comedy that is relying on the fact that you get the cultural references or you get the language. And I feel like when
Yeah,
people try to, like you just said, if someone edited just the Russian segments without somebody that actually understands it, it probably wouldn't make that much difference to me. But to everybody that actually is Russian or can speak Russian, they'd be sat there going, why didn't they get someone that knows what they're doing to edit this? Because I see that feedback a lot whenever there's any kind of European language or any kind of foreign language in American movies, where it's like, I don't know what they were speaking, but it wasn't my language.
yeah. Speaking of the subtitles, every single subtitle that you see in this movie, I had to translate from Russian to English. I literally manually did that.
Well, that's another thing to add to your repertoire.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's really fun to be, like, able to do all of those different things. Like I said, uh I'm in love with the process, and to me, it's actually a lot of pleasure, a lot of joy to be able to be involved in the on the production side. I've produced stuff before, like I've filmed, stuff of my own, and I do enjoy it very much. Like the editing side of things, like I do enjoy it very much. Um, However, when we talk about the editing credit, unfortunately, credit does not reflect who did most, like the bulk of the work.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna have to say that there were two other editors on the project who did the bulk of the work, and I helped, like as much as I could. So
yeah,
to
which
be
is fair
fair.
enough. So, my next question or next point is obviously this character is ex-military, still sort of military, but definitely has military training. And there's a lot
Mhm.
of gunfights in the film. Now, as you alluded to earlier, whilst in this film you're playing Lyudmila Alexienko, previously on a different Bat in the Sun project, you played Colonel Capshaw, which was
Yeah.
also a military esque badass. So I know that you've had martial arts experience and that you had a lot of training with the hand-to-hand stuff. Did you also have to have some training in gun handling and how to move like you're used to doing all this tactical work, or did you already possess that skill?
Of course. No, I already possessed that skill, but while we were working on Prayer of Wrath, there were some weapons that I've never shot before and I've never, handled before. So I had to learn some like new skills, like new, it was new information for me. Like that was my first and only time in my life, like where I encountered minigun. Like that's not something that you can encounter very often.
No.
Um, yeah, like I did have the experience with most of the weapons that I use in the film. I actually shot them before. I actually very much enjoy and enjoyed my whole life going to the shooting range. And I've shot various types of weapons. I actually know what it feels like to shoot them, you know. And I've had some really, really amazing experiences, really great teachers. I've studied tactical movement. Um, I- I've already had a foundation of both martial arts, weapons, tactical movement, like all of those things. But I gotta say, filming this movie, I have to step up like in every direction, like because I wanted it to really sell on screen. I wanted it to look convincing. I wanted it to look like, oh yeah, I believe her. Um, so yeah, it's a combination of both. Like I believe honestly, as an artist and as a martial artist, and just as a human being going through life, as a student of life. I strongly believe that no matter how good you think you are at something, you have to keep sharpening your sword. You have to keep sharpening your sword. Like you can have the the sharpest katana sword in the world. You can own the best sword in the world. But if you don't take care of it, if you don't sharpen it, it will get dull over time, even if you don't use it. So, same thing with skills. Like I strongly believe that a person has to stay humble and keep treating everything as if they've never done it before. Every time I train with a new person, I ask them to treat me as a novice because I know that they will have their own style. Like I've trained with many different teachers, and every one of them had something in common with the others, but for the most part, they had their own style, and it was different martial arts styles. It was like there were like differences. And like this famous saying goes, you can't fill the cup that's already full. You have to empty your mind, I say, right? Remember that?
Empty your cup.
um, empty your mind, empty your cup.
Empty your cup. Hopeless.
You have to be willing to show up as if you don't know, as if you're new to everything, as if this is the first time. Because in a way it is. Even if you know, what you know might not serve you this time.
Yeah.
This might be completely different. You have to be adaptable. And so, yeah, like every time that I work on any project, every time I train with a new person, I want to absorb as much as possible of what they have to offer because they're all unique, they're all badasses, they're all amazing. And I show up with that kind of respect, like I want to receive the gift that they're giving me. And I do not want to tell them, I already know how it's done, you know. If you
Now,
have something to offer, please do, and I'm grateful for it.
I I I think that attitude will definitely get further than the opposite. Like you said, if you show up and you're not in the mode of I'm here to learn, it's almost a waste of time showing up. Um,
Yeah.
I speak from experience. It's definitely something I struggled with when I was younger. Uh, I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I see it a lot now. and I saw it a lot with my siblings as they got older. And it's like you have to take the ego out of the equation and just be like, yeah, I might know some of this stuff, but I'm not the teacher. Why am I coming
Yeah.
here if I'm not going to learn? It's the equivalent of like, why do you keep challenging, or not challenging, but why do you keep playing the best in the room or the best in the school at X when you all you do is lose? It's like, yes, but every time I lose, I'm learning more. And in a few months, years, whatever it takes, even if I'm the second best person in the room, that's still way more than I was when I started. And that mindset really helped change how I approached a lot of things, but sports especially.
Yeah. Being a gracious loser is actually a big part of success, any success, because you have to fall forward. This is what I've learned from various sports that I've done in my life. And I just kind of have this attitude of I'm a perfectionist. Like I was always a perfectionist. And I used to get like so anxious about like sometimes I would not even start something because I wasn't sure if I was going to do a good enough job. Like, and then I knew that I was gonna beat myself up over it. And then one time I was like, you know what? I need to be my own ally, not my own enemy. You
Yeah.
know, what do I accomplish by, like having this kind of attitude? Like, so what if I will make mistakes? So what if I will embarrass myself? Like, I don't care. It was that day when I really made a difference in how my career progressed because you have to be willing to show up and fail because you can't win them all. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you will fail in various ways, and it needs to be okay with you because if you're going to have that fear, like, oh, I don't want to fail, well, you're not going to show up. And showing up is 50% of success. You know, I literally remember going out for auditions as an actor that I knew I was wrong for. Like, I literally was not what they were looking for. Like, I was not the type. I knew I was not going to book it, but I had a day off. I saw it. There was nothing else to do. And I would be like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to fail today. This is what I'm doing today. I'm going to go and fail on purpose because this is what something that I learned from sports, like sometimes like you fail on purpose and then at some point you start succeeding. But at the time when you start succeeding, you already don't care if you're gonna fail. You just have this like laser focus on just what you need to get done and you just get it done. And I remember showing up to some of those auditions knowing that there's no way they're gonna hire me. Like I wouldn't, you know. Because like it's not about like whether you're good or not. Like it's about you're wrong for the part. And so I would just show up and I would read for it anyway. And there was a few times when they were trying to like either they would still hire me for the part I was wrong for, they would like change it up to make it work. Another time they wrote another part just for me because they really liked my performance and they wrote like a little part so that they could just have me in the project. Like you never know, like if you don't show up, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. That's guaranteed. But if you do show up, magic can happen. Things can just unfold in a way that there's no way you could have predicted because your imagination sometimes fails to predict the full scope of how far you can go if you will just allow the God and universe to guide you, you know?
I think
So yeah,
there's another key element since we're having this conversation that you just said that I don't want to say it's like this is the key to success, but one of the things that I heard as you were speaking then is you went into these auditions believing that there was no way you could book it, which meant when you performed at these auditions, there was no stress and there was no anxiety and there was no pressure. So you
yeah.
just performed. And the response from the people watching you was, we may not want her for this role, but we want her. And I've found that in various fields that I've worked in, the jobs that I went into, even if it was just in the back of my head thinking, I'm not getting this role, the way you interview and the way you answer questions is completely different because you've already decided in yourself, well, they're not going to give it to me, so there's no harm in just having fun with it and
Yeah.
playing along. And suddenly they're like really interested, and you go, what's changed? And what's changed is you took away the pressure of failure. You took away the
That's literally what my goal was with that. Like that is why I was doing that because I knew that I care too much about whether I'm going to succeed or fail. So I decided I'm just gonna go and fail over and over and over and over again until I don't care about failing. Until it's like conditioning your body with martial arts. You just keep conditioning until you kind of like get used to it, and it doesn't bother you anymore, you know. Like it's similar. So it really helped me because literally like you nailed it. It took the pressure out of the equation. I did not care anymore because like that feeling sets in you of just showing up and doing your best in the moment and allowing yourself that grace. So like knowing that, you know what, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do my best, and if I win, I'll celebrate. And if I fail, I'll support myself through it. Like I'll show myself that grace. I'll be kind to myself and I will show up again tomorrow. Like that's the attitude basically.
yeah. And I, not to go off on a tangent with filmmaking in general, but you were saying earlier that you need to be willing to fail, you need to be willing to take risks, you need to admit that you're not going to be the smartest person in the room and that
Mhm.
other people might know more than you. These are all requirements, in my opinion, to be successful anywhere, but especially in the film industry, where so much is riding upon your ability to make it happen. Like you said with this film, you filled a bunch of roles and you got a few extra credits because you could see that the roles needed doing. And recently, I've spoken to a bunch of people who have made their own independent movies, and the one theme that they all have in common is, yeah, I did a lot of the extra work because if I didn't, it wasn't going to get done.
It
And if
just
it
needed
didn't,
to be done.
if it didn't get done, this movie wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be talking about it. And I feel like
100%.
that in and of itself is a risk that people talk themselves out of taking in the industry because I think you said it. I can't remember if it was before we started recording or at the beginning, but this is a low budget movie. So everybody's doing their own stunts, everybody's pitching in, everybody's putting in 110%. But I know for a fact that there are actors out there that would have looked at this project and gone, I don't want to do that. I mean, do I
Mm.
really want to do a low budget action movie? And it's like, well, what
I
are you
mean, it
doing
isn't six
instead?
figures. It's not necessarily a low budget movie. It's a lower budget,
But
so
but
because
but you
like,
know what I'm saying?
but it's a very ambitious film. So even though we had a decent amount of a budget available to us, we did not like. It's always good to have more, like for
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that, you know. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're like making a good point there. Honestly, I did not know I was going to get credited for any of those things. When I stepped in and I was doing them, I didn't ask for any pay for extra work that I've done. I didn't ask for the credit. I just wanted to literally just help, because
yeah,
like I really wanted to be as good as it can be. And Doug Tochioka was really gracious to offer all that at his own volition. I never asked for it. So I was like really surprised. He's actually really, like a very honorable person. Like he is a pleasure to work with, I have to say. Like he's one of my absolute all-time favorite people that have worked with. There was another person that I worked with that was showing his team as much grace as Alexander Nevsky. Um, but it's not something that you see in this industry like often, like
Yeah,
usually when I would go extra mile, I would not get credited, so I did not expect it to happen this time either. And I was like, to my surprise, okay, we all got credited. If you look at the fight choreography,
yeah,
everybody who pitched in with fight choreography got credited for it. Every single person. Because we all pitched in to our fights. Like a lot of the stuff that you see me do, I came up with a lot of the signature moves, a lot of those like sequences and stuff. It was a collaborative effort. And I didn't think that I was going to get credited for it, but they credited everybody who did anything, like they offered the credit for everything we did. So that was I thought that was like really cool.
yeah, and that's what I mean. In independent cinema, you're more likely to find that here. And I'm happy that you took the risk in pursuing it rather than worrying about what if it doesn't work out. And speaking of those signature moves, obviously the other person on that poster next to you is Cynthia Rothrock, who I'm going to go out on a limb and say that might have been an inspiration for you in wanting to do this.
Oh my God. Okay, so when I first started as an action actress, it was like right in the first couple of years of me working. I was working on this project, and the fight choreographer slash stunt coordinator told me like, okay, so I want you to go and watch every single movie that you can find with Cynthia Rothrock because this is the style. Like this is the example. Like I want you to do that. And so I did. And I went out there and I watched the movies with Cynthia and I was like, she's a real badass. I'm like, these are some really big shoes to fill. It's
Yeah,
like,
no pressure. We just want you to be as good
no,
as the national champion was.
exactly. Like, we just want you to be as good as the woman who's the best in the industry. I'm like, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen because, like, literally, she's iconic. Like, I honestly, to me, she is beyond compare. But I definitely stepped up big time because, having somebody of that level, somebody of that scale, step on board uh, of the film, I felt responsible. I was like, you know what? Cynthia Rothrock is a part of this movie now. Like her fans are going to be watching it. Like they will be expecting action to be fantastic. Like it needs to be great. It needs to be impeccable. And so I absolutely worked harder because I knew that now we have this, like bar has been raised significantly. Now I have the responsibility of not just doing it for me and for my team, like we also have the goddess of martial arts present. So, like you have to like really keep up.
Yeah, and I will say one of the things I was very happy about is Prey of Wrath doesn't make the mistake that some movies make when they cast like somebody that was known for doing their action. They save Cynthia for a big scene and they give it to her. Like she has a very satisfying sequence, and there's quite a few movies for a while that made the mistake of casting someone just to sort of have her not get to show off that she could still do what she could do. So I always appreciate it that you got to have your cool fight on the left hand side and Cynthia got to have her cool fight off on the right hand side. It didn't require one to be sacrificed for the other.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, that was intentional because, and some people were like, "Are you going to be fighting Cynthia?" I'm like, I want to be on her team. I don't want to be fighting Cynthia. I want to be fighting alongside her. I want us to be on the same side. But I thought it was really amazing. Like I really like her fight. Oh, the fact that she's fighting two guys at the same time, like I mean, she is she has delivered again, as she always does. Like and Like I was really, really happy to work with her on this. It's been a huge honor for me.
No, good. It's always nice when you get to work with people that you've looked up to, and it's a positive experience.
Yeah, Jackie Chan is next. You know, tell tell him to call me because I think my childhood dream is to work with him.
I'll put in a good word. I have apparently.
Thank you. Thank you. Use your connections.
Ah, and
Um,
I noticed that you're wearing what looks like, might not be, but it looks like a leather jacket. And that did remind me of something because I actually do have some handwritten notes here, but I've barely looked at them because we've been having so much fun. But I noticed that you were in leather a lot and it looked incredibly hot in some of the scenes that you were wearing it. And I couldn't help but notice a couple times that it looked like you guys weren't having fun in the sun.
okay, so you're very, very perceptive to mention that because we actually filmed a lot of that stuff during heat wave. My
Excellent.
fight with, yeah, my fight with Darren actually fell onto the heat wave um, when we fight in the end of the movie, and we're both wearing leather. Uh, and if you notice, like usually, all when cameras are rolling and sound speed, um, they turn off all of the um, fans and stuff. And there was like one fan that was working there, and we left it on because it was unbearable. It was literally impossible. There was like hard, it was hard to breathe in that that warehouse where we filmed that fight. It was so hot. And I thought that that was the worst of it until we came to the point where we were filming the final fight between Ludmila and Reznikov. Oh my God. Well, that was one for the books. Let me tell you, like literally, oh my goodness. One of our crew members almost collapsed from dehydration. Even though we were chugging waters, one bottle after another, we literally were drinking all the time. And we were just sweating it out immediately. And I couldn't even take off my jacket because it was literally impossible to, like, it was stuck on my body, you know? Like it was impossible to take it off, and then I was afraid, like, what if I won't be able to put it back on? Like it would be more uncomfortable, and it's so restricting. And I was like, I thought we had the worst of it when we filmed the winter fight. I did not realize that it would be so challenging to film the final fight. Like I thought that would be easier because like the clothing is supposed to be more comfortable. But when leather gets wet, it sticks to the skin, and you don't have the full range of motion anymore. Like even for the kicks, like you try to have full extension and it's pulling you back. Like it's like almost somebody holding you. So it's like there was only a couple of times in this whole production when we were filming comfortably, to be honest with you. There was not a lot of that.
Yeah, that is the scene where I was like, I know that they're tired, they're fighting each other, but they genuinely look like they're about to fall over, and I don't think that's acting because that sun is
No.
very bright.
No, yeah, we really were struggling through it, but it worked for the scene because it's the
It did.
final fight of the movie, and they're badass, but they're humans. And like you just saw like my character have this really intense fight with Darren's character, and then where she gets like pretty wrecked. And before that, she's running through that entire island, like fighting all those different people. And it's like, even if you're in a top physical condition, at some point you're gonna start getting tired.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the fact that that final scene, like that final fight is showing how the fatigue is building. And plus, getting when you get hit on the head so many times, like when you keep getting hit, like it's bound to make you feel a little out of it, you know? So I feel like it was all very, very synergistic. Like I really enjoyed how it fit right into the way that fight scene was supposed to be, you know? Um, and gave it like a little bit more of an emotional style, you know, not so much like a professional kill machine, like just going at it like a robot, you know, like you see emotions are running high because those people, they know each other. Like she's fighting her arch enemy. She's been dreaming about it her whole life. She's getting like all worked up about it, like
Yeah.
and in the end, like when she cuts her hair off, like that was like my favorite like thing in the whole film. You know, like I've been uh pitching it and pitching it and pitching it until I managed to convince Doc to do it. He was like, okay, fine, let's do it. And we did it. And I just feel like it's such a culmination of the emotional tension that's been accumulating throughout the whole film. Like you can see her like starting off as obviously like depressed. Like, I mean, sure, she's training and going on missions, you know, like you can tell like that she's distracting herself from whatever. And then when she's alone, you can tell that she's haunted by something. Like you
Yeah.
can tell that this woman is not okay. This woman is bothered by something from her past. And then you see those flashbacks and you start to kind of like realize, you know, like, oh my God, okay, she's been through a lot. Like that explains why she is the way she is. And uh there's a moment where you see her like split her life into before and after, like making the decision to go rogue. And by the time that you get to the end of the movie, you see that she has harder and harder time suppressing those emotions because that's what she did her whole life. And now when her arch enemy is right there, she can smell the blood, you know, like a wild animal. Like, you know, like it's very it's very interesting to me because like as much as I love action, I absolutely love the psychological aspect of acting. This is literally the two things that I wanted to do, you know, and that's why I chose this particular genre because it allows you to be physical and have fun, you know, like running through the forest with the guns, which is literally what I did when I was a kid. I used to play war with the boys. If
Perfect.
anybody told me that one day I'm going to do the same exact thing as an adult and get paid for it, I feel like, no way, this is so cool. But at the same time, like I always want to understand human nature, human behavior, human communication, you know, like why is everybody the way that they are? You know, like I'm greatly interested in those things. And part of the reason why I love being an actor is because you get to live all those different lives of all those different characters and explore who they are, where they come from, you know, like what are they afraid of, what do they want. And to me, it's like super satisfying and fascinating. And with the role of Ludmila, I got to do both. I got to have my fun and I got to explore the depths of her psyche.
Yeah. And I think there are some scenes in particular that caught me off guard, especially trying to think how to phrase this. There's some emotional scenes, some of which, like you say, you realize are coming if you're paying attention. But there was one scene in particular that caught me by surprise, which is when you're dealing with a kid, and I wasn't entirely
Mm.
sure what was going to happen there. And you get very emotional, and that really like resonated with me. And I thought that tells you a lot about the character without any dialogue in the scene, and I really liked that and appreciated that, and I made a note of that. And that what I was going to say, and then you've kind of said it anyway, is you said that you go into Terminator mode, and at the start of the film, you have the Terminator look where there's no emotion on your face. The eyes are scanning the room, and I remember thinking like that is 100% Terminator-esque in the performance. And the first two people you kill, it's like one and done. It's flat, it's cold, there's no emotion, you really don't care about them. But every person gets you closer to the one you want to kill. The closer and therefore the more personal, you lose that emotionless. And it's like you said, there you smell the blood, and each one
Hmm.
gets more savage. And I definitely picked up on that. That I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that aspect of some of the kills, especially the ones that you have emotional attachment to. And yes, some of them it's because they put up more of a fight, but even if they didn't, you take more pleasure in it because it's getting you what you want. And then I think that that comes through very nicely.
Hmm. Yeah, that scene with the kid, this is where she chooses to change everything, because this is something that she absolutely knows that she cannot go through with. And it brings her back to the point where she was a kid and she was forced to destroy her inner child in that moment, like, which is what turned her into what she is now, like the woman that we see on screen, right? Which is why she hates that Reznikov character so much, because he killed something within her, or at least tried to do it, like
Yeah.
in order to turn somebody into a perfect tool, like perfect killing machine, you have to first kill their humanity. And they did all kinds of, like traumatic things to that little kid that she used to be, um, in order to bring her to the point where she can do like execute the orders without questioning them, without any remorse, without thinking twice about it. Uh, what I love about this moment with the kid is the reality check. It's like the moment of truth for her. What are you going to do? Because if you like you were giving an order, you were given an order by the only organization that you've ever known. You are a part of that organization, and the order came directly, like eliminate the witnesses. But she knows that they're innocent. Like she even knows them like she knows this woman in person, and she's not a sentimental person, but she knows that. I guess kind of like, like when Batman doesn't kill because he doesn't kill because he tries to preserve what's left of his humanity,
Yeah.
and knows that if he crosses that line, there's no way back. I feel like it's kind of similar for Ludmilla in that moment. Not that she hasn't done all kinds of, like stuff before, but never with a child, and she knows that there's no coming back. It's a point of no return for her. She knows that like it's an impossible situation. She either loses what's left of herself in that moment, but follows the order, and then she actually becomes a tool, like not a person, a tool. She's lost forever. Or she has to go against the entire system that was backing her up. She loses, not only she loses all of the support, she also becomes a target for them. She's already a target. She's um on the um like in on a foreign soil in a foreign country. It's a black op, like she doesn't have any backup except for this partner that she kills, like later instead of, going after the kid. And that moment is a defining moment for the character. This is when you realize they failed to turn her into a monster. She's not a monster. Yeah, she's been doing some pretty intense stuff, but when it really mattered, when it really counts, she still chooses to be merciful, kind, and do the right thing. And she literally basically signs her own execution order pretty much by making that choice, and she knows it. And that's why, like she gets so emotional because like it's like it's an impossible choice, and she has those memories, flashbacks, pouring in, and at the same time she knows that, like the moment that she makes a choice here, something inevitable happens. Some big consequences are going to be at place immediately. And she
Yes.
does the right thing, and that's why I love her.
Well, it seems like a lot of people have been vibing with it because it's when it launched on. I'm going to get this wrong. Is it Zuno?
Xumo Play, NBC Universal Xumo Play. It's
Thank you.
actually one of the fastest growing, currently one of the most popular platforms. So if you haven't explored it yet, I highly recommend it. Xumo Play has a wide variety of movies on the platform. Really amazing films. Like I have been binging a bunch of stuff, like ever since I got familiarized with the platform, I've been finding all kinds of movies there. And the great thing about it is that you can watch them for free. They will have some commercial breaks throughout the films. The more popular the film, the more commercials you will see. But I actually don't mind it. I even like it because, sometimes you want to get up and make yourself a cup of tea, for example. And those little breaks, like they provide this opportunity to kind of like either go make yourself something, get a snack, or like if you're watching it with somebody, like all of a sudden, boom, you have like a couple of minutes to discuss what you just saw. Like, and I'm the kind of person who loves to discuss things, but at the same time, like if it's going to be a non-stop movie, I want to be respectful and I don't want to interrupt it. Like, there's no time usually to talk, right? So I have to like just like sit there till the end of the movie and then discuss it afterwards. But sometimes like something significant happens and you want to like address it right away and you can't usually. So I'm actually a big fan of having those little commercial breaks because they provide like a little window for, like for you to communicate what did you see what just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm picturing now watching a film with you. You're just sat there like shaking. Like, I want to talk about what just happened.
It's hard.
I like the fact that your go-to example originally, though, was you could go and make a cup of tea, and it's like, look, I know I'm from the UK, but that didn't have to be your example.
It did. It had to be my example because I drink a lot of tea. I'm from Russia.
Yeah, I know, so do
There's
I.
you.
It's a great
There's
example, but just
Listen,
made me
there's
laugh.
like I think there's 4 countries in the world, well, like five countries in the world that drink a lot of tea. Obviously the UK, the tea, famous tea time. It's Japan. It's a whole culture in Japan. It's India. I believe it's China, and it's Russia. Like not a lot
Yeah.
of people realize like tea time is big in Russia. Like it's literally my drink of choice.
Before we started recording, we were talking about some other stuff, and I mentioned my Russian friend at university. She was the same. She introduced me to a whole room that she had that was just dedicated to the various different teas that exist. And I was just like, this is a lot of different teas that I didn't know existed. So I've tried a lot of them.
I have a big stash in
Yep.
my kitchen. I have a collection of teas. Yeah, no, I love me some tea time.
Good. Yeah, that's just made me laugh. It completely derailed me now. Where was I going with that? It
We
just started
were
talking
talking
about
about
tea.
Brave Wrath.
Yeah.
And by the way, this was my second time working with Cynthia Rothrock. I don't know if you knew that, but the first time we got to be a part of Alexander Nevsky's Taken from Rio Bravo movie. We did not have the joint scenes in the film. She's doing her own thing, and I was filmed on a different day. But technically, it's our second project together.
Was Taken from Rio Bravo filmed first then?
Yeah. Well,
Oh, okay. Because I thought Prayer of Wrath was filmed first, even though it's come
it
out
it
second.
started it started filming first. But the Taken from Rio Bravo was finished first.
Okay. Because yes, I knew that you were both in Take It From Rio Bravo. Obviously, there's hundreds of episodes of this show. I don't expect people to know, but we did a couple of Alexander Nevsky films, and I was gonna do Take It From Rio Bravo when it came out, but I just got swamped with scheduling. But like,
Have you ever
because
interviewed Alexander?
I have not, he's on my list.
Oh, I can help you make it happen.
Yeah, you
You
know him
definitely
a
know.
little bit. I'm
I
told.
know him a little bit. Yeah, I know him pretty well. No, he's definitely the person to interview. That's for sure. One of the best in the industry, and so many accomplishments. Like it's a little intimidating, to be honest with you. Um, the man is like a machine. He just works and works and works and works all the time, and you can see the results of the hard work pays off. Like he's literally the illustration to that phrase. Working smart, working hard, it pays off. Um, Definitely recommending to check out the Showdown in Manila if
That was the
you're,
one. That was the
yeah.
first one we did.
Oh, really? You saw the film? Oh, I love that movie.
That was
And it's
the because
it's
that's the one with him and Casper as the leads, but like
Casper,
everyone else shows
Cynthia,
up.
John Dragon, Wilson,
Mark Dacascos,
Mark
Hiroyuki
Dacascos,
Sanawa.
yeah, and Olivia Gruner. They
Yes.
really had this, like really amazing cast of brilliant action actors brought together. And oh my God, I wish I was a part of that one. That was such it looked like such a fun film to be a part of, but unfortunately we haven't met yet. I mean, I knew Casper and his wife back then already, which is how I got invited to the premiere.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I knew obviously, like at the risk of sounding like we know more about each other than we do. I know you obviously knew Jenny because I know where you both met, but obviously it's like
yeah,
it's like I said, it's weird. Like I could talk to random people that on the surface you think they shouldn't have or like these connections, and then when you look at people and it's happening here now, it's like, well, actually they do know each other because of da 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 da, and suddenly it's like, oh, okay, well I've spoken to half of those people.
yeah. No, I met them about around the same time. They haven't even met yet when I met them both. And then like a couple of years later, boom, they're dating, and then they're engaged, and then they're married. That's really awesome. Like I really love watching soulmates meet and blossom into this beautiful relationship. And they're both amazing people. Wonderful, wonderful people. And I've known Jenny for a decade now.
God, where does the time go?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's amazing. It flies when you have
I
fun.
I can't do it with you, but I typically like when I spoke to Casper and he and I were having such a great laugh because we actually it was Casper, Louis Mandylor, and Brendan Slagle because we were talking about their World War II movie. We weren't doing like Starship Troopers for the 20th time, but I made Casper laugh because we were talking about Starship Troopers and some other stuff he'd done and Mortal Kombat and this and that. And I said, yeah, but my favorite role of yours of all time, I gotta know is when are you gonna come back as Cyclops and sing some more? And his face, he was like, why? Of all the roles, do you know I did that? I was in that for like 10 seconds. Yes, I know. But I can't do that with you because I haven't got an obscure Tatiana role I can pull up to be like, want to ring, but mention this thing you're in for 10 seconds. Maybe next time.
Next time, yeah.
And I'm aware that we have been talking for a little bit longer than we originally said. Is there anything else that you want to sort of mention that we haven't before we start wrapping up?
Mm. Well, I always love to say thank you to all of the people that I worked with on Prayer Breath. Everybody really came together on this one, and everybody worked really, really hard. and were really positive, to work with. And I just want them to, I want to always remind them how much I appreciate them all. Uh, Huge thank you to Dr. Chioka for bringing me on board as the lead. Big thanks to Ben and Tjandra for bringing Cynthia Rothrock on board, and for all of their hard work and creative input and everything. Um, Big thanks to our Cynthia, our goddess of martial arts. It's been such a pleasure to work with her and an immense honor. Um, I would also like to thank Alexander Nevsky, who executive produced the movie. He came on board later towards the end, and he helped finish the film, and he helped find the distribution, and he supported the movie with in all kinds of ways, like helped with the marketing campaign and everything. So grateful for it. Big thanks to Stuart Olson of IT and distribution for distributing the film, for believing in it, and to our amazing cast and crew, to everybody that worked so hard to bring it all to life. And I really enjoyed working with everybody on this one. And of course, big thanks to people like yourself for supporting the film and for um, like doing those interviews with us and uh, spreading the word, because people are watching, people are reacting, and it helped the movie to get into the most popular from the day one, and it's still in the most popular section on Xumo Play platform. And I am so immensely grateful to everybody who took their time to watch it and support it. And yeah, like very, very grateful. So basically, this is the most important thing to me, like this part, like just so that everybody, all of the people, cast, crew, and our amazing stunt guys, like that they know that I really appreciate them.
You're welcome, but in all seriousness, thank you, because it's always a delight to watch an independent movie that's worth watching, but also even even if I had a list of problems with it, it's all I can't do anything unless you guys make movies. And I love talking to people and listening to people's stories of how the movies were made, because there's always such interesting conversation. You kind of briefly touched on it about the human psychology. I feel the same way about the technical aspect of how the movies are made and the people that it takes to make them. And you're absolutely right, it does take a village, but it also takes a few people who are just a little bit crazy to go, I see something that needs doing, I'm going to go get it done. And it's kind of becoming apparent how many of those people have to sort of take charge on movies to actually get them across the finish line. And you're clearly one of them. So
I
congrats.
am. You'd be surprised. One of the times when I was just starting my career, we had a car that got stuck in the sand on set. And I was told to just wait in the shade. It was in the middle of the desert. And I was told, like, oh, we have like your umbrella ready for you with a nice chair, like and stuff. And I was like, I was looking at it and I'm like, I know how to get it out. They're like, it's okay, we will handle it. You just relax. Here's your drink. Like you just make yourself comfortable. You don't worry about anything. Let us know if you need anything. Like I was playing the lead on the project and I was like, but I know how to get it out. They're like, we already made a phone call, and we need it out, right? Like we can't keep filming until the car is out of the, like of the situation. And they just struggling with it, like a whole group of people. And they were like, we already made a phone call. Like there's like some people are on the way here. I'm like, how soon are they going to be here? 2 hours. I'm like, 2 hours? Like we need to be done filming in 2 hours, like we will lose the light. Like, I mean, they're not going to be able to be here on time. I'm like, you guys, come on, let me help. And I literally dug out the car, like from the sand, I put some stuff underneath the wheels, and I was like, okay, like now, like let's do this and that. They did what is that? And we got the car out, and they were like, "How do you know how to do this stuff?" I'm like, I used to drive in Russia in all kinds of weather conditions, like, and I drove a stick. You have no idea what I've been through with my car. Like, I had to go through all kinds of situations, snow, mud, sand, like you name it. Like, I've done it. And like, I'm a hands-on kind of person, like if I see something that I can do to help, I don't know if it's a good quality or a bad quality, like it's really hard to hold myself back sometimes, but I just charge forward. I take initiative. I'm like, let me do it, let me do it. And I have a
I,
very hard time just like sitting back and relaxing with a drink when I see other people struggling.
which I think I speak for everyone when I say it's a very good quality to possess, so long as you don't let people take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's something that I have to watch out for because there are some people who will, but usually you can only try to do it with me once. I will stay polite, but I will definitely distance myself. Like if I never want to work with someone again, I will not tell anyone, but there will be signs.
Yeah, like the fact that you just don't work with them again would be a pretty big
Yeah,
hint.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because like if I am treated with respect and everything that I bring to the table is appreciated, like why would I stop? Like I'll be there every time. You just tell me the time and the place, and you can always count on me. But if for some reason you see that I'm no longer around, if I'm keeping my distance, it means something.
Yes. And just before we actually end, uh, do you know who made the poster behind you that we've been featuring so much?
I honestly I have no idea who the artist is, but I really think that uh he or she, I don't know who it was, did a great job. Like I really feel like the poster like really pops, you know? Like I love the composition, the colors. Like everything is really dynamic.
The uh the funny thing is that because obviously I saw the poster a long time ago, and I was really curious at what point Ludmilla was gonna end up in a red dress.
At no point in the movie Ludmilla is in a red dress. That was
No.
my question. Actually, that was my question when I was told to bring a red dress to the photo shoot. I was initially like, but I never wear anything like it in a movie, like, but it's not uncommon for the poster to be featuring the lead actors uh in some kind of like an artistic
Yeah.
setting rather than like authentically like the look that is taken from like actual movie. So I think it worked, like in terms of like it does attract attention, like that the red splash of red color. Um, but yeah, like at no point in the movie you will see me wearing this dress, unfortunately, because I think it would be super fun to have a fight in this particular dress.
Maybe you'll save that for the sequel.
Maybe, yeah, you never know.
And then you can finally have your fight scene alongside Cynthia.
Yes, oh, I would love that. I would love that. Like, girls get it done kind of situation, right? Like, just side by side with my North Star.
Why not? Uh so if people want to find you online to see what you're up to next, where can they?
I am on Instagram. I have a Facebook account. I have a Twitter account, and I am on YouTube. But if you want to interact with me, I would say Instagram and YouTube is where I spend most of my time. I'm more active on those platforms. But yeah, like I'm represented on all of the platforms. If you type in Tatiana Neva, you should be able to find my accounts.
Yes, and definitely check out her YouTube, guys, because there is content there. It isn't you won't just find a trailer for Prey of Wrath. There's other stuff, so feel free to go and subscribe to Tatiana so she can make more cool stuff.
100%. Thank you. And then thank
And
you again so much for having me today.
that's all right. Thank you for coming and staying, because I realize we've gone a bit longer than we said. But on that bombshell, I will hand you over to the me of the future to tell you what's coming next. All right, there you go, guys. That was the episode. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and thank you once again to Tatiana for spending so much of her time having a chat with me. She is a delight to speak with, and can't wait until we have a chance to do it again. Honestly, she reminded me a lot of when we sat down with Giedre Yakite and, in a previous life, Amy Johnston. But all of them seem to be really genuine, kind people that just want to see everybody succeed and make cool stuff, which is exactly what this show is about. So fingers crossed that this opens up some more roles for her. And I look forward to hopefully seeing her dive back in with more roundhouse kicks and spinning kicks and all that fun stuff. Keep your eyes peeled on the Action Addicts networks for the review. There's a couple other reviews, some current, a couple old, that will be coming out over the next few days, hopefully. And as far as the next episode of the show goes, that should be in a few days, where we will finally be welcoming back Lindsay from the Schlock and Awe podcast to discuss a double dose of some very strange zombie horror action movies that we did a little bit ago now, but I think you guys are going to enjoy the episode. It's a very weird combination, and we had a lot of fun talking about it, if not that much fun watching at least one of the movies. But that's the next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.
On the Action